So I've talked about overwhelm and what we could do to manage it beforehand. If we're sitting on our own, if we're preparing for something, if we're writing a speech, where do we start? And how can we silence that noise within our head? But what happens if you're overwhelmed in the moment when you're giving your speech, when you're giving your presentation, and you go blank? So what do you do, and what can you do to manage that? We all go blank. It's something that just happens. And part of it is going, okay, why have I gone blank? Is there a trigger there? Did I see somebody do something which totally took my mind away? So if you're virtual, if you're online, what sometimes happens is people are reading the comments and they see a comment and then they forget about what they were going to say next. It totally throws them. The other element sometimes is when people are in a room and they're presenting to other people, somebody will do a gesture, or you'll look at a person and they'll do something or say something to somebody else. You won't be able to hear it, but all of a sudden your mind will go into overdrive and you'll go blank again. So what can we do in the moment? There's a few things that I've learned that really helped me, because I've gone blank in the moment. And how have I recovered from that? Well, actually, if you're in the middle of a speech and you're a few minutes in and you're talking and you've been talking and you forget about what you're going to say next, what you want to do is just pause. Just take a breath, take a moment. And if you've gone far enough that it's okay, you can then go, okay, we've covered quite a bit. I just want to summarize where we currently are and where we're going next. And just by saying that will give you the opportunity to think back about what you've already done and where you're going to go next. And just by doing that process and speaking it out, you'll find your place next. The other thing is, what happens if you go blank at the very beginning of your speech? You're literally in a few seconds and you go, I have no idea what I'm going to say. How do you manage that? Again, for me, it's very much about taking a breath. And what I do is, when I'm in a moment like that, I stand there, I take a breath, and I'm very conscious of my feet within my shoes. And that, for me, I feel that, and I just hold it for a second, and then usually I then carry on talking. That's enough to compose me, because it shuts down my mind and it gets me thinking about what I'm going to say next. The other thing that you can do to build on that is you take a breath, think about your feet in your shoes, and then you say a word which is relevant to your topic. So, for example, if you're talking about polio or COVID, you can say vaccines. How much have they changed our lives over the years? And I think it's important as well that when you say that one word, you pause and then you ask a rhetorical question. So if you're talking about the change of aviation and how aviation is going to change, aeroplanes, are they going to become obsolete and we're going to rely on hydrogen in the future? And then again, you'll pick up where you're at and you'll carry on. So the key thing is to remember is, as hard as it is, don't panic. The more you panic, the worse it becomes. So it's just about taking a breath, either summarizing if you're a quarter or midway through, or it's about saying that one word and that rhetorical question, which will then get you on to the next part. And what I've done, I've used it myself many times and it's been really helpful. I've taught my clients it, and every single one of those have found it really useful to use. So I can guarantee it works. So next time you're on a presentation, you go blank, think about those two things. Summary, or one word that relates to your topic, and then a rhetorical question. And then whatever comes next will come next, and you'll catch up with yourself and you'll be able to carry on as normal. Right, go and have fun with it. I'd love to hear when you use it, the difference it makes. and I'm going to carry on walking up this hill before I get out of breath.